My name is Richard Wawrzyniak, and I'm the principal analyst at the SHD Group. The data that we're about to present, I am responsible for this forecast. And I want to thank all of you for coming and for your interest in our research and our ability to share it with you today. I also want to thank the RISC-V International for this opportunity to share our data with you, and also thank them for their support and encouragement in conducting this research. They've been very helpful to us, and we appreciate it. So, I wanted to show our previous forecast and our current forecast, the difference between the two, and explain a little bit of why it's so much different. So if you look at 2024 down there, the light blue bars are the previous forecast, the one we released last year, and the dark blue bars are the current forecast. And you can see there's quite a difference there. And one of the reasons why 2024 is so different is, to be quite honest, we got much better data from sources in China. We really underestimated what the Chinese suppliers were doing last year. And when we got the new data, it came out almost double in terms of the total units that shipped. So actually for last year, it's right on 5 billion units total in the world, which was higher than what we had originally forecast. And as you play this through the years, that is the result. So we're now forecasting by 2031 roughly 35 billion units, which is about a 31.7% compound annual growth. And there's every possibility that those numbers will prove to be low. The market is growing quite a bit. And I titled the presentation to be RISC-V exceeding expectations. And it's funny about expectations. People have different views of the market based on what they think they want to see or what they hope to see. Could be high, their expectations could be higher, they could be lower. But really, you need to have some data, some facts to really form those kinds of opinions. So one of the things I looked at was just the overall size of the semiconductor market. The SIA is forecasting right on $700 billion this year. There are plenty of people that also are forecasting the same, reaching 1.1 trillion by 2028 or 2029, and even 1.2 to 1.35 trillion by 2031. So if those numbers come to pass, and barring any economic or geopolitical calamity, I don't see any reason why they wouldn't. You can see why the market is going to continue to grow, and especially RISC-V as part of that market. RISC-V presents a tremendous amount of opportunity for designers today. Probably the biggest thing that has happened is RISC-V has reintroduced competition to the market and choice for designers. And you can't underestimate that. That is a tremendous aid for designers, especially in the design landscape that we have today. Another reason is the rise of AI. RISC-V is almost tailor-made for AI as far as being able to provide the right level of performance. And then the heterogeneous nature of designs today favors that designers are going to pick the best CPU core to fit the application, regardless of where, whose name is on it. That's also an aid for RISC-V, and the fact that you can customize the RISC-V extensions and tailor fit the solution to better mirror what the application demands. Those are all things that are favorable for RISC-V. So this slide takes a look at 3 metrics which you would use to define the market. On the right axis in the green with the green line, that's the forecast for the RISC-V CPU IP market. The blue bars are on the left axis in blue, and that is the current forecast for unit volume in the light blue bar, and the dark blue bar is market revenues. And you might wonder, why is the dark blue bar so high? Well, when NVIDIA made their public statement last year that RISC-V is in every one of their parts, when I initially put this forecast together, my gut said that yes, they were using RISC-V, otherwise why would you be on the RISC-V board of directors? But I never thought they were using it in every single part. So the way we did this forecast was we're counting revenues. If a RISC-V CPU core is on a part, we counted the revenue from that part, the total revenue from that part. Even if it had other cores on it, non-RISC-V, we felt that was really the only way to do it, the only way to really be fair and provide a reasonable picture. So when I include the revenues, not the total revenues, obviously, from any one company, we're only tracking silicon, not cores, but discrete silicon devices. That's what it comes out to be. A lot of that number, not all of it, but a substantial portion of it is GPUs. You have to include that, simply because of what NVIDIA has stated. So when you roll it all together, that comes out to be greater than $300 billion by 2031. And if you think about it, out of $1 trillion or $1.35 trillion market, that's not excessive. I don't think that's really beyond the pale. So when you take a look at the market penetration by industry, it turns out that automotive, and this is by units, not dollars, automotive has the highest penetration. The way that's figured is the total number of parts in the automotive market versus the number of parts that would have an ARM core on it. You divide one by the other, and that's the market penetration. Other markets that have larger unit volumes would have a lower penetration. So it's not exactly like the highest number of units would be shipping in automotive. It's just the percentages that are figured differently. So automotive and consumer are the 2 highest unit penetrations. And then from beyond that would be industrial and networking. So the SHD group also did a earlier study this year on the edge AI market. And this particular graphic shows a neural network supported by companies that are targeting consumer market. And we surveyed about 44 companies, and literally every one of them said that they were hoping for an A architecture to be able to run all the different neural nets, which has turned out to be really not possible. AI is moving so fast and evolving so quickly, and new neural nets are being introduced every day, that it's just not possible for one architecture. So that requires or points people towards domain-specific types of solutions, which, as it turns out, really is one of the hallmarks of RISC-V, the ability to customize the instruction set, or I should say the extensions, to tailor fit the solution more closely to the end application really favors RISC-V in this case. And as we have seen, Edge AI is growing quite a bit. Not necessarily the highest performing devices, but what do you need in a video doorbell? You don't need an x86 class processor, but you need something that is reasonable and reliable, and RISC-V fills the bill on that. So this particular chart looks at the heterogeneous nature of SoC designs and how it's favoring RISC-V usage. So there's 4 use cases that we looked at: finite state machines, MCU functions, a coprocessor function, and a host processor function. And as you can see, the MCU functions are the majority throughout the forecast. It turns out that in any particular SoC, you need a lot of compute power, a lot of spreading around, so to speak, of the workloads. And MCU type CPU cores fit that bill very well. And of course, RISC-V, again, fits that bill very well. Another reason why it's growing. This looks at the total design starts by product type. In this particular chart, MCUs and AI accelerators have the highest number of design starts over the course of the forecast, and followed by networking devices and security SoCs. So summary. The initial volume for RISC-V when it started was, lower end types of functions, MCUs, finding their way in storage applications, USB drives, things of that sort, wearables, smart sensors, all that type of silicon solution. And then it's transitioning now into higher performing end applications, data center, ADAS, computing. The announcement by NVIDIA last year that they're using RISC-V in every one of their parts, I think really started, if the conversations hadn't already started in boardrooms around the world, I'm pretty sure they started at that point with people saying, well, if it's good enough for NVIDIA, it's good enough for us. Why not? Of course, everybody's going to look at that differently, and they're going to look to see that the CPU core that they're picking actually does fit their needs. But more often than that, I think that RISC-V is getting there, especially from the point of view that the gap between the high end of the competition, ARM, and the high end of RISC-V is closing. It's narrowing. Every year, the RISC-V CPU IP vendors come out with higher performing parts. And of course, this is a moving window, it's a moving target, but the gap's narrowing. And we think that by the end of next year or the beginning of 2027, that gap will effectively be closed. So then there won't be a reason why somebody would rule out not using RISC-V for their solution. They'll be roughly equal. And now they're going to compete on the merits of what the cores do, which is, I think, what everybody really wants. So to reinforce that, we see adoption of RISC-V by a host of large companies: Broadcom, Google, MediaTek, Meta, Qualcomm, Renaissance. The list is growing. And those companies are finding that there's utility and value in the RISC-V. And I think as they stand out as large companies that have the really good engineering resources, smaller companies are following suit and doing the same, looking at RISC-V with very close scrutiny. The rise of AI focuses and favors the use of RISC-V. So if you could say that RISC-V had a tailwind, it would be AI, in our opinion. And RISC-V has already become the #2 architecture behind ARM. It's a good time to be in the RISC-V community. So many thanks to the RISC-V International for the opportunity to present our research. And to the companies that contributed to the research, we appreciate your help and your support. The first release of our RISC-V market analysis was received with great enthusiasm by the market, downloaded by thousands of people from hundreds of companies, and continues to be downloaded even to this day, even more than a year after the initial release. We are now releasing the 2025 edition of the report. Again, there will be a free version of that. Please go to our website. We're probably releasing it at the end of the first week of November, so it's not there yet, but it's going to be there very soon. And if anyone is looking to have their company included in the ecosystem directory, please email us at info@theshdgroup.com and complete the form on our website. So I will be walking around the show floor for the next 2 days. If anyone has any questions about what I've just presented, please feel free to come up. Keep in mind, I'm only one and you're 1,000, so you need a little bit of patience. I probably can't get to all of you at once, but if I'm not able to answer your questions during the conference, please shoot an email. My email address is in the beginning of the presentation. Happy to help you and understand where we think RISC-V is going in the future. Thank you very much.